Hey, thanks for checking out my Ancient Gear deck profile. Without further ado, let's jump straight into it. So for starters, we're playing 3 copies of Ancient Gear Wyvern. Ancient Gear Wyvern is the key card in the deck. It says when it's normal, or let me try to focus this. It says if this card is normal special summon, you can add 1 Ancient Gear card from your deck to your hand except Ancient Gear Wyvern. Also, you cannot set cards for the rest of the turn. That's not really a big restriction. And then so pretty much that's it. This card is super important because it lets you search out your key combo extenders like Ancient Gear Catapult or Ancient Gear Fortress. Most of the time you want to search out Ancient Gear Fusion with this after you already have monsters established on the board, so you can go into a big fusion and then just OTK. So Ancient Gear Wyvern is really good for that, and because of that you play 3 of. It's a really good Rota and you need to play 3 of. A card you don't need to play 3 of, but it's still mandatory in the deck, is Ancient Gear Frame. Ancient Gear Frame is also a searcher, but it has a more restrictive searching ability. First of all, you have to discard a card, and you can only add Ancient Gear Golem or 1 spell/trap that specifically lists Ancient Gear Golem in the text. So once again, that's Ancient Gear Fusion. So you run two of these because they're Ancient Gear. It's an Ancient Gear monster, so you want more Ancient Gear names so you can fuse with. Also, it lets you search Ancient Gear Fusion if you're in a pinch. So 2 of those, and that's it. Next, we're playing 3 copies of Ancient Gear Hunting Hound. Hunting Hound's cool. You play it mostly because it's an Ancient Gear in name. This can also help you get out of the pinch if you draw a whole bunch of monsters and you really don't have a play. You can normal summon this because it actually lets you fuse from your hand with its effect. So ideally, you wouldn't brick, but if you do, you can just normal summon this, activate its effect, fuse from your hand or your field, and then obviously continue with your plays and hopefully get an OTK that way. So 3 hounds. 1 Ancient Gearbox. Ancient Gearbox isn't really crucial to the deck. You could even cut this if you want. I like to play it because it says if it's added to your, it's added from your deck or graveyard to your hand, except by drawing it, you can add 1 Earth Machine monster with 500 attack or defense from your deck to your hand. So the thought process is if you already have Ancient Gear Fusion in your hand, or you already have all the cards you need to combo off, when you normal summon Wyvern, you can add this. And then because you added this, you can search another monster. And that way you just fill up your hand with monsters so you can activate Ancient Gear Fusion, just OTK. So only 1 of, you can really cut this if you want, but I thought it was just worth playing. Speaking of 1-ofs, we also play 1 Ancient Gear Golem. This is... there's ways to cheese this out. Typically, you cheese this out with Ancient Gear Catapult, special summon it, and then activate Ancient Gear Fusion to fuse from your deck, which is amazing. And then it lets you just OTK. So, because of that, we play 1 of... you really don't want to draw it because it's a brick draw, but, with Ancient Gear Catapult, you can, like I said, cheese this out and then activate Ancient Gear Fusion and OTK that way. So, really good at 1. Another 1 of is Ancient Gear Ultimate Pound. You play 1 of these because 1 of the fusions requires you to, it can let you attack twice if you use Ancient Gear Golem and Ancient Gear Golem Ultimate Pound. So I play 1 of just so you can get that second attack off and OTK your opponent. Speaking of OTKing, this is a really good OTK card. Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon. So when this card is when Gear Town is destroyed, you can special summon an Ancient Gear monster from your deck. Unfortunately, it doesn't ignore summoning conditions, so you summon Reactor Dragon. When Reactor Dragon attacks, your opponent can activate spells or traps, and it has 3,000, and then after the attack, it can pop a spell or trap, which is really good because all of your Ancient Gear spells/traps have effects when they're destroyed to special summon an Ancient Gear. So in a pinch, you can special summon this with the effect of Gear Town. Attack, destroy 1 of your spell and traps, you get another special summon, attack, and just keep on grinding and hopefully get the OTK that way. This deck's pretty much an OTK deck, and that's pretty much what we're trying to do. Okay, so we're done with the Ancient Gear monsters. Now we're going to go to my special tech. I play the Machina package. Mostly because the Ancient Gear Ballista, which is the Ancient Gear Link, takes 2 Earth Machine monsters, so it doesn't have to be Ancient Gears. And I felt Machina was the was the ideal kind of substitute for Ancient Gear monsters because they're very easy to special summon. This one says you can discard one other Machina card, special summon this card from your hand. And then during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can target one machine monster you control, special summon from your deck one Machina monster with a different name, and an equal or lower level to that monster, and if you do, destroy the targeted monster. This has really good synergy with Citadel, to special summon Citadel on your opponent's turn, and then basically destroy all your opponent's monsters that has less than 3,000 attack. So really good, and it's an easy special summon for Ballista, so that's why you play it 3 of. Speaking of Citadel, we play 2 copies of this. Let me get the second one. It says it cannot be normal summon or set. It must be special summoned by a card effect. Quick effect. You can target one machine monster you control, destroy that machine monster, and all monsters your opponent controls would attack less than or equal to. If a face-up Earth monster you control, except Machina Citadel, is destroyed by battle card effect while this card is in the graveyard, you can special summon this card. You can only use each effect of Machina Citadel once per turn. So the ideal play is use Aerator to discard Citadel, special summon the Aerator. If Aerator is destroyed by battle card effect, you can special summon Citadel, and then you basically have a walking Raigeki on your opponent's field. It would destroy all of your opponent's monsters with less than, if you target itself, it would destroy all monsters less than 3,000 attack, which is just amazing. So, 2 Citadel. And for the last Machina monster, we play 2 Machina Fortress. We play 2 Fortress because it's an easy special summon. It can kind of unclog your hand if you need to, so it's only a 2 of. I suppose you could play 3 of if you want, because it's a really good way to unclog your hand, but I felt 2 was fine. A card I play 3 of is Flying Pegasus Railroad Stampede. We play this card because it says when it's normal summon or special summon, you can target one Earth Machine monster in your graveyard, except itself, and then special summon it in defense position, and its effects are negated. So the idea with this is if you needed to go into the Ancient Gear Ballista, you can normal summon it, special summon either an Ancient Gear monster from the graveyard or a Machina monster from the graveyard, link off into Ballista, and then can combo off with your plays that way. So because of that, I play this card at 3 of. So that's actually it for the monster lineup. I try to keep it pretty short and simple. I didn't really want to complicate it. I really focused on an Earth Machine build more than anything. So, this card is one of the key cards in the deck. Gear Towns basically says both players can normal summon Ancient Gear monsters for 1 less tribute. That doesn't really come up often. What does come up often, it's its second effect. It says when this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 Ancient Gear monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. This is really good because you can destroy. There's a lot of effects that destroy your own spell and traps in this deck, and using this to spam out your Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon is a really, really good play, especially if you have another spell / trap you want to destroy with Reactor Dragon to keep comboing off. So because of that, 3 Gear Town mandatory in the deck. With that, we play 1 Terraforming just to search it out. You guys know what Terraforming does, it just searches it. So another key card in the deck, and a card we play 3 of, is Ancient Gear Catapult. You want to see this in your opening hand as fast as possible. It says while you control no monsters, let me just zoom. While you control no monsters, you can target 1 face-up card you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon 1 Ancient Gear monster from your deck, ignoring summoning conditions. And then you can banish this card from your graveyard, target 1 face-up card you control, destroy it, and then special summon 1 Ancient Gear token. You can only use 1 catapult effect per turn, and then once that turn. So a good play to do with this is if you had catapult, Gear Town, and Wyvern or an Ancient Gear Fusion in your hand, you can activate Gear Town, then activate Catapult, targeting the Gear Town to destroy it. You would special summon Ancient Gear Golem off of Catapult's effect, and then you would special summon Reactor Dragon off of Gear Town's effect. And then you would either normal summon the Wyvern if you don't have the Ancient Gear Fusion, or if you do have the Ancient Gear Fusion, you would activate the Ancient Gear Fusion, and because you control an Ancient Gear Golem, because of Catapult, you can fusion summon from your deck. And then some of the Ancient Gear Fusions are absolutely crazy and allow you for like simple OTKs. So this is definitely a card that you play 3 of, and you want to see it in your opening hand as soon as possible because it extends your plays. Another good card that you really don't mind seeing in your opening hand is Ancient Gear Fortress. It says, during the turn that they were normal or special summon, your opponent cannot target Ancient Gear monsters you control with card effects, so targeting protection is obviously really good. Also, they cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, so more protection. Your opponent cannot activate cards in response to the activation of Ancient Gear card effects. So if you have this, you can activate this to prevent your opponent from not negating your Ancient Gear Fusion, because you want to see that go through. That's your that's basically your win condition in the deck. And then if this card is destroyed, you can special summon one Ancient Gear monster from your hand or graveyard. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except Ancient Gears. That's typically fine. Typically, you just use this as an extender. You can destroy it with Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon to special summon one from your hand or graveyard. And so you definitely play it as 3 of because it's protection, and at a pinch, it can be a combo extender. So good card right there. The main win condition of the deck is 2 copies of Ancient Gear Fusion. This card used to be $60 for a reason. It's really, really good in this deck. Fortunately, it just got a reprint, so it's now really accessible to everyone. And in terms of what it does, it says the following. Fusion summon one Ancient Gear Fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. If you use Ancient Gear Golem or Ancient Gear Golem Ultimate Pound you control as fusion material, you can also use monsters from your deck as material. So this is really good because if you have a way to spam out Ancient Gear Golem, ignoring a summoning condition, so i.e. Catapult, you can use this, use the Ancient Gear Golem on the field, and then use the rest of the monsters from your deck. So basically you can use, it's free resource advantage in the fact that you don't need to use cards in your hand to fusion summon, which is really good. Something that should be noted about this though, you have to control the Ancient Gear Golem, or Ancient Gear Golem Ultimate Pound. So unfortunately, it can't be in your hand and then you activate Ancient Gear Fusion and then you're like, oh, Ancient Gear Golem in my hand, and then the rest from the deck. Ancient Gear Golem or Ancient Gear Golem Ultimate Pound has to be on the field for you to use the effect of using materials from your deck. Now some 1-ups we just play to add to the consistency. 1-up Star Goblin, it just lets you draw a card, so you want to see your combo pieces as quickly as possible. 1 Monster Reborn, it's an extender at a pinch. If you fusion summon using monsters from your graveyard, and you send like a Reactor Dragon, or you can Monster Reborn the Reactor Dragon, and then you have a 3000 beat stick that doesn't let your opponent activate spell or traps when it attacks, so that's really good. Overload Fusion, ironically enough, the whole deck is actually Earth Machine fusions, except 1 card, which is Chaos Ancient Gear Golem, and that card is really, really good. It basically takes 4 Ancient Gear monsters. So, with that being said, it's really easy to get 4 Ancient Gear monsters in your graveyard with this deck, and OTK with that card. So you play an Overload Fusion just on the off chance that you draw it, and you can get 4 in your graveyard and then OTK. We then play 2 copies of Twin Twister. Disregard the fact that they're different rarities. That's I couldn't find the other rarity, the other ultra rare. Twin Twister is a really good card in this deck because it lets you discard a card to pop 2 spell/trap. Typically, you know, you can discard like an Ancient Gear Golem that you could revive later. Or not an Ancient Gear Golem. You can discard an Ancient Gear monster, which you can revive later. But typically how you want to use this is you want to discard a card, and then target one of the spells that you control that have an effect when they're destroyed, and then 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it. So it's basically this basically acts as disruption for your opponent and a combo extender for you at the same time. So I would play 3 if I had another copy. Unfortunately, I couldn't find my other copy, so we're only playing 2, but I would definitely recommend playing this at 3. So the last 2 cards we were playing in the deck are Pot of Desires. You could replace this if you wanted to. I just really like Pot of Desires in this deck because it adds a little bit of consistency. So 2 Pot of Desires just for the draw power. So that's it for the main deck. Now we'll be going into the extra deck. I'm playing 1 copy of Ancient Gear Ballista. Only 1 copy of this. It's a really good card, and if you have two, I would really suggest playing two. I just only had one. It says if this card is link summon, you can add one Ancient Gear monster or one Gear Town from your deck to your hand. Also, you can target one spell/trap you control and one face-up monster your opponent controls. Destroy that target, and if you do, change the monster's attack and defense to 0 until the end of the turn. You can only use each effect once per turn. So essentially, what you do with this is you would add Gear Town from your deck to your hand, or any Ancient Gear card you need, and then or one Ancient Gear monster you need, or Gear Town. You would pop the Gear Town. Gear Town would trigger special summoning a Reactor Dragon, and then you can target one of your opponent's monsters and make its attack and defense 0. So it allows for really, really easy OTK. So I'm only playing one of, but if you have more, I strongly suggest playing more. Now for the fusions, we're playing 3 copies of Ancient Gear Howitzer. It takes 2 Ancient Gear monsters. It's unaffected by other card effects, and then during your main phase, you can inflict 1,000 points of damage to your opponent. You can only use each effect once per turn, and then if this card is destroyed by battle, you can attend to the graveyard. You can special summon one Ancient Gear monster from your deck, ignoring its summoning condition. This is here because in a pinch, if you only have 2 monsters in your hand, you can use the Ancient Gear Hunting Hound to make Howitzer. You can burn your opponent for 1,000, and then if this is destroyed, you can special summon Ancient Gear Golem, and then hopefully next turn you can have a way to get to Ancient Gear Fusion, and then use the Golem to go into some of your bigger monsters. This is also a really good card if you're going into time and you need to burn your opponent for 1,000 quick to steal the game. That's pretty much what this is for. Next, we're playing 1 copy of Ancient Gear Megaton Golem. This is my favorite card in the deck. It's actually the main card you OTK with. It takes 3 Ancient Gear monsters, and then if this card attacks, your opponent cannot activate spells and traps until the end of the turn. So pretty much the standard Ancient Gear effect. But if it was fusion summoning using 2 or more of the Ancient Gear Golem and our Ancient Gear Golem Ultimate Pound as fusion materials, it can attack that many times during each battle phase. If this face-up card leaves the field because of your opponent's card effect, you can special summon 1 Ultimate Ancient Gear monster from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning condition. So, or 1 Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem, ignoring its summoning condition. So, obviously really good because it lets you spam out a fusion monster if it's destroyed, so it's self-replacing, and it'll let you attack twice if you use Ancient Gear Golem and Ancient Gear Golem Ultimate Pound as a fusion material, which is really easy if you have Ancient Gear Fusion and you have one of the 2 on the field, because you can just use the other material from the deck. So really good, and definitely at least a 1 of. I'd play more if I had them, but I don't. So now we're playing 3 copies of Ancient Gear Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem. This is the OG Ancient Gear Golem fusion. It says it takes 1 Ancient Gear Golem and then 2 Ancient Gear monsters. Must be fusion summoned, and then if it attacks a defense position monster, it inflicts piercing. Also, if this card attacks, your opponent cannot activate spells/traps until the end of the turn. And then if it's destroyed, you can target 1 Ancient Gear Golem in your graveyard, special summon it, ignoring its summoning condition. So, this is really good because you can cheese this out with Ancient Gear Megaton Golem. If Megaton Golem is destroyed, you can special summon Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem. And then if this is destroyed, you can special summon Ancient Gear Golem, ignoring summoning conditions. So a really, really good interaction there, and it helps you OTK, so you play it at 3 of. Now we're playing Chaos Ancient Gear Giant, which is the Overload fusion target. It takes 4 Ancient Gear monsters, must be fusion summoned, it cannot be special summoned by other ways, unaffected by spell/trap effects, which is really good. Also, your opponent's monsters cannot activate their effects during the battle phase, which is really good. And this card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each, and then if it attacks a defense position monster, it inflicts piercing battle damage to your opponent. And it has a giant 4,500 attack. So essentially, this is a 1 card OTK. I don't play any other cards in the extra deck just because I left that up to basically whatever you guys feel is right. Anyways, thank you for watching the deck profile, and if you have any suggestions or comments on how to improve, please comment down below. I'd really like to hear what tech choices you guys use for Ancient Gears. Thank you so much for watching the video, and peace out.